Welcome everybody to this CHAMP webinar on CHAMP Academy. My name is Bart-Jan Haasbeek, based in Amsterdam, and I am CHAMP's Events and Engagement Manager. And our three panelists today are Sabine Suhawardi, Oliver Frey, and Bertel Olafsson. The topics of our webinars stimulate further digitization. During the previous webinar on Pay Cargo, we discussed how to digitize the payment process. During today's sixth webinar topic on CHAMP Academy, we promote the change of the curriculum from physical classroom gatherings to an e-learning solution. Our webinars have been launched in order to still being able to meet and engage with you. And we appreciate you took the time to attend this webinar and hope you and your families are keeping safe and business will soon get back to normal. Before we move on, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. The duration of the webinar will be around 30 minutes, including questions, a maximum of 45 minutes. The presented data from the system is all fictitious. We will not show you live data. And we would like to engage and learn from you, so we will be launching two sets of poll questions which you can answer. And if you have any questions, please use the tool from the webinar, and we will either raise them during the webinar or we will get back to you on email personally and answer the question. A recording of the webinar will be distributed to you automatically from the system after the webinar. And if you're interested to learn more, please do not hesitate to contact us. We would be happy to organize an exclusive demo with one of our specialists. Today's agenda, we will start with the introduction of the panelists. Then Oliver will explain a little bit about learning from home, especially in this era of the pandemic. Then also by Oliver and then with Sabine as well, the advantage of the CHAMP Academy and a system demo. And then the view from a customer by Bertel and first-hand experience of CHAMP Academy. And then the key takeaways and the Q&A, which will follow. Please let me introduce our three panelists today. In the Netherlands, we have Sabine Suhawardi, CHAMP Academy Training Manager. And in Zurich, in Switzerland, we have Oliver Frey, Head of Commercial Operations for EMEA. And we are especially delighted to welcome Bertel Olafsson, Cargo Solutions Manager at Icelandair in Reykjavik. And Icelandair is the launch customer for our TGS module in the CHAMP Academy. And they will inform you on the key benefits of CHAMP Academy. Oliver, during the pandemic, we all work from home. Could you please kick off this session and explain a bit more about learning from home?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Learning per se is a highly personal thing. Everybody has a slightly different approach. Everybody has a different academic background, so we all adapt our quirks. What is common, however, is that people need peace and quiet in order to concentrate and focus on the task at hand. In most places of work, this is a hard thing to achieve. Some companies have the luxury of a classroom or even soundproof meeting rooms, but this is more of an exception than the rule. And here is where distance learning comes into play. Distance learning is adaptive. You can learn from wherever and whenever it suits your needs, be that from the comfort of your own home, your favorite coffee shop, if it is open already again in your country, or if you have the luxury of a private office, you can do it from there as well. And this can be done regardless of shifts, holidays, staffing shortages, work peaks, whatever your situation is, CHAMP Academy is right there by your side. Needless to say, this is even more true today under the pandemic than ever before. Focusing on the three advantages that the CHAMP Academy offers, it is first a reduction in cost. Training your staff, of course, comes at a cost. not training them is even more expensive, as wrong system entries will cause denied clearances by customs, will cause lost shipments and bad data for your management information system. With Champ Academy, you have short training sessions instead of long absences, no expenses, and thus the very best return on investment. The second advantage is it caters towards people. Some people are early birds, some people are evening owls. With Champ Academy, your school adapts to your preference, your schedule, and thus offers you the optimal training, be that for a new hire in your company or as a refresher for the most experienced senior. The third advantage is updating. Nobody likes updating folders. Nobody hardly updates textbooks, and it's not done even regardless of, even outside of training. With Champ Academy, you have always access to the latest download. You're not reliant on photocopies. You're not reliant that your teacher brought the latest set. You have it right there at your fingertips, and you can download it onto your computer where you actually need it. This augmented with videos and interactive sessions, you can be certain to always be on the top of your game.
So thank you, Oliver. Let's now start straight away with asking the audience some questions. So I will be raising the first poll question, and the question is, do you know the cost of your training? You can answer now using the system. The answers only two, yes, we do, or no, this is not being tracked, but we really should. So please vote. There are no votes yet, but I see them now distributing, and soon the votes will get in, and then I will share. It's now collecting the responses, and I see a very high percentages already. Let me close the response and then share the result with you. And Oliver, what is your view on this result?
Well, actually, it is a very positive, because 40% of the people on the call know how much they spend on training, which is something that you absolutely must know. And you should not only track what you spend on the actual courses, but you need to factor in absences, expenses, travel, and so on. So this is usually an area where most companies have room for improvement, let's say.
Yes, indeed. Let's go straight to the second question. In a traditional classroom setting, how much knowledge of course content do you estimate is typically lost 3 months after course completion? So basically, how much does still stick with you after learning, or how much is lost in this case? Again, votes are collected. Nobody is answering 0 to 0%, because we all know that something gets lost, of course. Oh, I do see some people are voting for that one. Let's now also share these results. And Sabine, what is your view on what you see now?
Thank you, Bart-Jan. The actual answer is C. So I am actually surprised to see 30 to 60%. According to the research conducted by Dr. Joe Policio in 2017, knowledge loss after 3 months is approximately 70 to 19%. That's indeed very high. Why is this? There are a couple of reasons for this. One of them is that companies still overburden their learners with too much information packed into very little time. This, of course, can make learners feel frustration, especially if they do not have the confidence to perform their job properly. A second reason is when taking the course in a different language than your native language, than your mother tongue. Last but not least, that could be a lack of practice and repetition. In the end, repetition is the key for learning and knowledge retention. So that's something very important to look at. I'll go to the next slide, please. As Oliver already mentioned, not training your staff effectively can be very costly for an organization. Companies are then required to retrain staff after several months. This can be due to loss of knowledge, loss of productivity, or even to a high turnover of staff. Therefore, our courses at the Champ Academy are valid for 3 months. They reinforce knowledge retention. The Champ Academy is not just a state-of-the-art learning platform. Our course creators include knowledge retention strategies by designing interactive learning environments to maximize the attention, encourage the generation, arouse emotions, and space out lessons and force retrieval. How do we do that exactly? We design simple, engaging slides and graphics with frequent build into breaks into the learning process itself. All courses are role-based with plenty of interactive features such as simulation, flashcards, hotspots, videos, and frequent knowledge checks. Videos and simulations are no longer than 5 minutes. To boost engagement, completion, and the final scores, we can also apply gamification strategies and mechanics, such as contests and various forms of rewards, such as badges. Last but not least, the learner has prolonged access to the learning material online for a realistic time of the course itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
No, please continue.
I know time is very limited, but I would like to give a glimpse of the Academy platform itself to show you the different courses that we have.
Yes, indeed. Let me share this with you. So Sabine, please show us the system. In the meantime, let me ask the audience, please do ask questions in the tool. We see some questions coming in, but don't be hesitant and ask us some questions which we can and will be raising during the webinar.
Thank you, Barchan. So here you go. So I've opened our platform, which you can easily access through the web. This is our landing page, and when courses are enrolled to a learner, they can easily see all the courses by going through My Courses and Learning Plan. For this demo, I have assigned 2 courses. One of them is the TGC, which is a more compliant course, and the other one is a cargo spot handling course. So let me just open this one. And I've already prepared some information, so I will just resume where I left off. Here you go. So you can see the learning objective for every course at the start of the course. So I'll just start the first one. What we basically do is we have an approach called watch, try, and do. Each course starts with a concept where you have to see a video, then try it yourself, and in the end there is a test where you have your final score. So the TGC course, which is a compliance course for customs, is a more linear course which takes you through all the information regarding customs for a specific country, and you get the chance to play with it. You have different various hotspots. And then you can continue to next slides, and you have different flashcards, which makes it more playful for the learner itself. At the end of each course, you will have a final assessment, the final test, and depending on the score, you will be then certified for that specific course. I also would like to have the opportunity to show you another course, which is for Cargospot, which is more focused on the practice. We have a demo, which is a more interactive video, which you can follow and then try to simulate the steps on your own in the practice mode. So here's a small example of a simulation where you basically start with the simulation itself, and the look and feel is exactly the same as Cargospot itself. You follow the actions on the screen. If you misclick or you don't know, you basically click somewhere else, and the system will instruct you to continue or to repeat the step. So here I will just continue and follow the steps. So it looks like that you are working in a real sand pit or a sand environment, and the course includes different steps that you would also practice in real time. So I can obviously continue, but I think this is sufficient for the demo now. If you do want an extended demo, please do contact your service or account manager, and we can set up an in-depth demo.
Okay, very interesting, Sabine. I have two questions on the management tools of Champ Academy. You mentioned certification, and what I also liked is that you can measure progress of the course you're doing. I saw a little tool. Is the, let's say, the manager also able to measure the progress of the students?
Yeah, this is correct. So if a manager tool is activated for the company, for the courses, then the managers can indeed follow the progress and monitor the scores as well, and send also reminders internally to the employees to continue or to start with the courses. So this is easily set up in the learning management tool that we have.
Okay, great. And the certification also, this is, so you will get actually a certificate which you can print. Is that the way I see it?
Correct. Yes, if you have completed the course with the actual score, and this could differ from 80 to 90%, depends on how this has been assigned for your company scores. Then at the end of the course and successful completion, you can easily print out the certificate for that course.
Okay. Okay, great. Let's move on, and let's now go to a user of the system, Bertel Olafsson, Cargo Solutions Manager at Icelandair. Bertel, what could you further explain about your e-learning experience with the Champ Academy?
Yes, yeah. As you mentioned before, we were the first customer on Academy, the Champ Academy. We started with Traction TCS, the Traction Global Security, and we were very worried. It was a course we took for the upcoming ACAS program in the US, and we were very much concerned about our fresh fish transport to the US. So we signed up for the TCS in Academy, and it really just worked out well. It was a completely new model, and the application gives just really opportunity for like deeper training. You have it straight from the experts. It's always difficult for airlines to conduct training themselves for it to be really comprehensive. So it was really nice to try this out. It's much easier than just using the classroom training. We also have we are used to having some of our staff working from home. So they really liked the opportunity to be able to, work on the course from home. or at the office, just to their own convenience. And yeah, it really worked out well, and it's a challenging and fun application to use. You know, it's not just like reading manuals or etc. It's interactive and just yeah, very well laid out. At least the modules we have so far tested. So,
yeah, may I ask a question? So you mentioned it's easier than a classroom training from home.
yes.
Did you also use to measure the progress of your colleagues? Did you use the management tool so you can see how they progress?
Yes. We of course, people are different. Some of our staff really finished the course in a short while, but a few others we had to, you know, remind a few times. So it's very beneficial to see the process, and that the users really have to sign off for the training. So
Yes.
that was a good benefit.
Yes, indeed. And what kind of further impact this had on your further business processes?
It just well, it goes hand in hand with our processes, and we are thinking about you know, looking for more recurrent training. You know, that is maybe where we are you know, lacking a bit. You know, we always go for a good initial training, but recurrent training is often, you know, lacking. So I think the academy application would come in quite handy there, just to, you know, keep up the knowledge within the organization, keep us up to date, and also you have the modules are being, you know, updated with new material, you know, as the applications are changing and progressing. So you always have access to the, you know, like the latest version, or, you know, it's up to date and suitable for your needs.
Yes,
Very sorry to jump in here, Bartian. I just had a colleague of mine tell me that they have trouble seeing the screen. Does everybody see the Icelandair slide, or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I can see what the audience sees, and indeed the audience view is the Icelandair view.
Okay.
And there are no other remarks in the chat or in the question. So no.
Okay.
Nobody raised this.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, and on the scalability, Bertel, what's your view on the scalability?
Well, you can, you know, accommodate, you know, quite a lot of number of staff. Maybe one thing that Champ might be a good idea for Champ to look into is to make the application available as a subscription, or you know, make it a bit easier to gain access to the platform and use it. So you have it really at your disposal in your, you know, training arsenal, if you can say so. You know, I think that's something that Champ should look into. You know, make it more accessible.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Indeed, also offline. So subscription model, and also what I like to hear also is the recurrent training, which is always important. And then, so let's make that more accessible to do this recurrent training. I also like your fresh fish example, and then on the security. So there is a need and urgency, especially for specific shipments, to learn more how to deal and how to make the process better around those commodities.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bertel. Let's have the other panelists also raise a few questions to you. Oliver, what question would you have?
Yes, Bertel, I actually presented to a customer just last week, and one of his questions was, how much time did your average employee spend on the training?
Yeah, well, at least for the TGS module, on the average, it took them about, 1 and 2 hours, somewhere in between. Yeah. So we had a couple of staff. They were quite fast, and they were fast to pick up. But yeah, very few were struggling with learning.
Okay,
So
great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was quite nice.
Hi, Bertel. Thank you for your feedback. I would like to know a bit more about the content. We have a strategy for watch, try, and do. How did that go for you, where we have started first with a concept and showing a video and then do the simulation? So these are different features within the course. So how was that experience for your team?
Generally, I think it was a good experience. It's pretty well laid out, the material and the course training. Also, what we found quite good with the application is that you really have to pass, each chapter. You have to reach a minimum score really to, of course, finish the course and go to the next chapter. So that was bit of a challenge to some of the people, but in the end, I think it just gave them better training. Even if some of them, were a bit upset they didn't pass in the first run, they have to do like a second run for it. But eventually it just resulted in better training and better digestion of the material.
Yeah, I like that remark that they're upset if they didn't pass. That means you have to learn a little bit more then. So that's always good to hear.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And they get 2 attempts.
And they yeah. And they also they have to think quite a lot. It's just not like reading material. It was a bit demanding, but it's in a good way.
Yes, but it should be indeed, because it's important also to do it correctly. May I ask a question to you, Sabine? I like this question. It's from the audience, so that's always interesting. Is it possible to customize the Academy dashboard with customer branding?
Yes, this is possible. There are different packages that we can have. One is a simple learning platform with your own branding on top of it. There is a combination where we can have like the branding, but you will monitor and assign the courses to your own team members. That's also another setup, but all of these features are available. And yes, we could be able to show this also in a demo.
Okay, great. Bertel, do you have a question maybe to us?
No, not really. I'm not familiar with with the cargo spot modules, but
Okay.
do you have like some like pre-presentation material on each course, or is that something you could provide to the audience, or what's included in within the different modules?
I can actually take that question. Thank you very much, Bertel. All the sales team are trained on the Champ Academy. They have all taken the courses themselves, and we have slide presentations and course catalogs and everything ready. So if anybody is interested, just contact your sales account manager, and we will be able to show you a small preview. And we will, of course, be able to get specialists like Sabine on board for a full presentation if that is required or requested.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, Bertel, this may be specific to you, but I imagine the climatic conditions in Iceland can be quite a challenge. Did you allow your staff to do part of the courses from home, or and therefore they didn't have to travel to work that day? How did you organize that?
Yes, well, lot of our people work quite a lot from home, and I can't remember exactly if it was during the course, but at least last winter, our Keflavik airport did close for a few days due to heavy snowfall, and it was just a complete disaster. So people really enjoyed, also being able to work from home, take some of the classes also from home, or for the unfortunate people that were stuck at the airport during the night. We have a night shift, and they were not able to go home because the roads were totally blocked. So they probably spent a few hours just on on training, or so I hope.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's conclude this session on the conversation, and let's go to the audience again for the next question round, and launch the poll questions. And basically, this question, it's a different one. The question is, as e-learning is a paperless way of learning, it has less impact on the environment. And the question here is, which statement you think is true? So as e-learning is a paperless way of learning, it has less impact on the environment, of course. So distance-based learning programs consumes around 90% less power, or distance-based learning programs generated 85% less amount of CO2. And you can also answer multiple answers in this case. And yeah, there is no right or wrong here. It's just to emphasize these numbers. I see the votes are getting in, and like I said, there is no right and wrong, but I will share the results. And yeah, what we would like to show here is to emphasize the sustainability around e-learning in general. It's of course less traveling, which is the most obvious one. You don't need to go to the classroom. But also the books, of course, so it's less paper. And in total, that generates 19% less power and 85% less CO2 emissions. So again, there are no wrong answers here, just to emphasize the sustainability of this.
So you're actually saying that both answers are true?
Both answers are true, absolutely. So
excellent.
Yeah, and these are quite very big numbers, of course. So to achieve your sustainability goals as a company, this is a good tick in the box to start working on. Besides all the other benefits which are there about knowledge retention, it's in general, and cost saving, etc. But sustainability is very high on everybody's agenda, as it should. So let's go to the last question. I will launch it now, and this is, will e-learning improve your business processes? Then the answer is yes, e-learning in general, yes, Champ Academy specifically, and again, multiple answers are possible here. Or this is not applicable to us, or maybe you do not think that e-learning will improve your business processes. So please feel free to vote. Slowly the votes are getting in. I will share them in a minute. Will e-learning improve your business processes? And it's again also a topic around digitalization, which is quite important. So basically the answer is it's yes, most probably in our industry. And so let me share the results. And Oliver, what are your comments on this one?
Well, the answer by the public is bang on the money. Yes, of course, e-learning is the future. I think probably a hybrid solution will be the real answer. That especially when you're introducing a new program, you may want to do a face-to-face training in a train-the-trainer environment, and then enhance that with a Champ Academy training where you can actually do everybody and their dog. So it's a general trend we see the world over. E-learning is the way to go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and we've seen that in our organization as well in Champ Cargo Systems, where we also launched e-learning for our colleagues. Let's go and finalize the webinar and go to the key takeaways. Oliver, could you summarize the webinar and a little bit in the key takeaways?
Absolutely. I'm actually repeating myself a little bit from the previous from the previous slide, but I just this morning I read an article on LinkedIn where the world leading companies are adopting distance learning for their staff as it is simply the most flexible and cost-effective way to learn. And this is not anything special for Champ or CargoSpot. This is generally like that. Secondly, especially in today's situation, travel may not even be allowed or may not be possible, or your company may not want your staff. And even if your government allows you to travel right now, it is just coupled with significant risks. And this is true even if your staff is flying somewhere, or if somebody foreign is flying into your country and spending a week at your offices, it is just simply less safe. Thirdly, as we have so expertly done in our industry with the e-airway bills, Champ Academy is again a step towards the paperless operation, as your staff will have everything on their computers where they actually need it and not somewhere in a drawer in a dusty manual. And truly with Champ Academy, you have the solution. And since it is starting at only 500 euros, there is really no good reason to not at least give it a go and try it out once. And with this, I hand over back to you, Batjan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We have some questions from the audience, and not many, so there's still time, and you can still ask us questions if you wish. Let's address one or two. Do we need an AWR? And this is a funny one because almost every webinar this question is raised. So again, if we want to sign up, does this require an AWR? Is the question literally.
I'll take this one then. At this moment, yes, you do require an AWR, but at the moment we are working very hard to get the self-registration in place on the platform, where by an easy click you can purchase a license for a course, or how do you say, get started directly on training material. So this is something to come in near future, and that we would like to present also. In an in-depth, how do you say, demo.
Okay, thank you. And again, a question about customization. How long does it take to customize a training for a customer? I think then the customer assumes that it is possible. So let me then ask the question, is it possible to customize a training? And then how long does it take to customize a training for a customer? Sabine, I think that's for you. Yeah.
That depends on the course itself. We have at the moment compliance courses, which are security related or customs related. Yes, we can customize those, but the ones, for example, for cargo spot related, if you would like to get those customized to your processes, this will require indeed additional work, and that needs to be sized. That totally depends on what's included, what learning objects are included after the sizing. That it will give a better idea on how long it takes.
Okay, so indeed, yes, that is the reason why there are customized training modules, and indeed, I understand that depends on the customer. I didn't know that there were various customized training. So basically, yes, the answer is yes, it's possible, and that it depends then on what's needed to be changed. Yeah, then the next question raised by the same person is how much would this cost? But let us go to that person on a one-on-one basis via email and not raise that question literally during this webinar. The certification, the question on that, we discussed the certificate. How long will the certification last? Sabine, I think that's one for you as well.
Yeah, and that again depends on the course, but as a standard, we're going to hold 24 months, and then there will be reminders sent out and for a recurrent or a refresher training to refresh your knowledge and do a recertification.
Yeah, okay.
Bartian, if you give me later on the details of the person who asked the question on the price, I'll be more than happy to contact this person. As a general rule of thumb, I would say it's about half of what an on-site course would be.
Okay. Yes, I will, of course, do that and send you the details. Okay. Now the last question, and I like this one, although there are a few acronyms in it, so maybe somebody needs to explain those. And I'm raising this because the next webinar is on CHAMP APIs, which is the 22nd of July. So if you like to join us there as well, CHAMP APIs. Now this question is, can SSO and/or APIs be set up to feed data from the CHAMP Academy systems to HRIS of customer? HR. So Sabine or Oliver?
Yes, sure. Sure, but I understand if there is an interface possible to communicate data to another system through APIs, that is possible. It's something that we are working on at the moment as well, and not much tested, very honestly. But this is indeed possible, and is something that will come up in the near future on the CHAMP Academy as well.
Okay.
I find
great.
the option to feed directly an HR system out of the CHAMP Academy, so the HR department knows who has taken which training. I find that an extremely interesting option.
Yes, indeed. So they don't need login into the CHAMP Academy, and they have it all in their HR system. Yes.
Yeah.
And that will be possible, or is already possible, Sabine? What? Sorry, I missed that.
No, that will be possible.
Okay.
It is CHAMP Academy is obviously GDPR compliant, and there are a couple of things that still needs to be set in the back end. But yeah, we are looking for an testing customer. If somebody would like to offer themselves to work with us on that, yeah, that would be great.
That is a very good closing statement of this webinar. So let's wait and see. Indeed, we are on the 45-minute mark. So I would like to thank everybody for joining this CHAMP Academy, and you will receive the link of the presentation, and it will also be available on the CHAMP website. Thank you, audience. Thank you, panelists. Oliver, any final words from you?
Not really. There is hardly any cost in trying this out, so reach out to your sales account manager. We're more than happy to show you how this works and how this can be adapted for your personal needs. So please reach out, call, and ask.
Okay. Thank you very much, Oliver and Sabine. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Bertel, specifically for joining us as a panelist during this webinar. And everybody, please stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Matt. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Good day.
Bye-bye.